Hello, folks. Welcome back to World War II TV. And a double bill today, a proper history show coming your way in an hour. But right now, we're doing something a bit different. And with details of an exciting documentary, a parachute jump, and an all-round cool airborne charity project, I'm delighted to welcome two of the team. Welcome to World War II TV, Alex and Sean.
Very much, Paul.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having us on.
So I'm going to turn to Sean first. And Sean, you're not on. I didn't end up adding you to the description there, but this is a project from both sides of the pond. And indeed, you've got supporters around the world. So, Sean, the platform is yours to begin with. Tell us what this project is about and what you're looking to do.
Absolutely. Thanks, Paul. Alex. What we're looking to do is essentially bring back and continue to live the legacy of the veterans, especially obviously World War II focused, Band of Brothers focused. One of the things as Band of Brothers has gone over the past 20 some years, has gained in popularity still through a new generation. We want to make sure that we haven't lost the reason why we're looking back at the veterans. As more and more depart, we're left with stories. We're not left with firsthand stories anymore. So we want to continue to put out the information that is correct, put out the information that honors these veterans, what they did and how they did it. And Band of Brothers, through Alex and his portrayal of Frank Mellett and all his colleagues that portrayed all the veterans, we want to kind of bring that all together and bring it to a new generation. So we're given the opportunity to go back and take a look at what the Band of Brothers did and say, wait a second, we can actually do this again, but we can do it kind of in a real fashion. So the plan is to basically have a project that goes all the way from Toccoa, Georgia, all the way through to Normandy. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a number of the Band of Brothers actors that portrayed the veterans, and we're going to train them at Camp Toccoa, and we're going to put them through airborne school for real. And these gentlemen are going to go through their jump school and make their 5 exits out of a C-47 aircraft to earn their wings for real. And this will prepare them to go into the 80th anniversary of Normandy, jumping into Normandy as part of those ceremonies, and actually portray what actually those veterans did, not only in their training, all the way through Normandy. So from our side, it's going through the training, going through running up the real Currahee. I know a couple of the gentlemen have never been back to the real Currahee. When they did the filming, it was a different mountain, very, very similar in nature, but when they get to see what the real Currahee is like, and the 3 miles up and 3 miles down, it's going to be a very good eye opener for them. But essentially, we'll be staying in the barracks at Camp Toccoa, so we'll get that flavor of, you're not going from a hotel on to a set. You're essentially living in the barracks with the rest of the paratroopers that are going through the training. So it's our goal to put a documentary in place that's going to cover all of that happens here. So it's all of the training activities, but in that exercise too, we're looking at interviewing the different actors and having them give an understanding of the veterans they played. Some had the opportunity to work with their veterans who were still alive at the time. And you had others that were in a little bit of a different situation, such as Alex, who's a veteran, unfortunately, was killed in Foix during Battle of the Bulge. So not having that direct connection, relying on other things as well, with other veterans kind of telling the story. So it's a very unique situation for interviewing the actors. Also some family members of Easy Company veterans that have been obviously along for the ride are going to be interviewed and give some perspective from a family side of things. So from our side, one of the other pieces that is actually there when we say about the veterans, one of the veterans of D-Day that is very exciting for us to be part of this project is a C-47 called Placid Lassie. It's part of the Tennyson Foundation, and it is an original D-Day veteran herself. She was put into service in 43. She did a lot of the practice jumps in Berkshire, England. She dropped the 101st gliders on D-Day, did a couple of supply missions right after D-Day. Moved on. She actually dropped the 101st in Market Garden as well, did some supply drops there, and then also ferried the 17th Airborne as part of our city and did some after war drops, supply drops, and things like that. So we are very, very honored to be able to call that our aircraft as part of this project, not only for Toccoa, but also all the way through to Normandy. So we've also got tremendous support from the Walk Among Heroes Foundation as well. That's going to be extremely supportive, especially in the Normandy phase. And as you know, Paul, the 80th anniversary, if you can compare it to the 75th, it's going to be a little bit crazy, but in a very, very good way.
You
so
can say that again. Yeah.
But especially around the June 6th day. But essentially having all of those pieces in place. And again, having the support that we're looking for. If you are interested, and hopefully you are, this should be something, especially any World War II folks that are historians and buffs and people that are very interested. We do have a website, currahee-to-normandy.com, where you'll find all the information. There's opportunities, different levels of donation that we're looking for to help support the project. But at this point, I do want to turn it over to Alex a little bit and have him give a little bit of the flair from the actors and the veterans they portray.
Well, I want to put a question to Alex as well, and also, folks, the link to the website is in the description below. And I'm sitting here looking at you, Alex, and the elephant in the room is the fact that when you made that series, it was 25 years ago. So you're all 25 years older now. And my math's pretty much spot on there. So undertaking something when you did, some of the actors went through boot camp, some didn't, but you all went through that physical ordeal of months and months of filming.
Yeah.
And now, 25 years on, you're doing it again, but in the real locations and actually earning the wings. I mean, it's a bit daunting, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, it is. I mean, from boot camp originally, way back in 99, 2000, when we did our original training with Dale. That was hard, amazing, and like as the skipper likes to say, lightning in a bottle is what he created in that process of 2 weeks at Longcross. So it's still quite vivid, and full of amazing memories for me in lots of different ways, from creating a relationship with the cast members that still stands today. We're all still a very, very close unit. Definitely much, over here in the UK. We keep the legacy going. We keep this project very true to our hearts. And you ask any of the guys, it's the best job we ever did. And then carrying it forward, especially with being over in Normandy for quite a few ceremonies and the commemorations that we've been over there, we've also gained such an insight as to what it means to the people of Normandy, specifically, how they regard the veterans, how they almost like the folklore behind these guys that liberated them in 1944, and it always amazes me, amazes us when we go over there, that we're part of this story, although be it very small, but we portrayed guys that liberated the French, and we get a bit of an insight into that feeling. And I think we've always talked amongst ourselves, wouldn't it be amazing if, that is always something we've always talked about. What if we jumped into Normandy? What if we actually went through that and did it? It wouldn't be amazing. And we talked about it for quite a few years, probably since the 75th. We were talking about it, seeing the guys jump out from the C-47s. And it's led us to this merry dance, which has gained momentum rapidly in the past few months. And it was basically a conversation between myself and Sean that kind of had this snowball effect, and it started. We started sticking more facets to it, more sides, working with the charities like War for Heroes, with Jeff Wells, and then turning it onto obviously the Patton Foundation involved, and then the All Airborne Battalion coming to really secure what's going to be happening over in Toccoa. I mean, we were in Toccoa, but we weren't in Toccoa. We were on a set, and to tie it in, to actually go back to this, to go to this place for the first time, to take something that hasn't been done there in 82 years, is, I think it's kind of blowing our minds. And it's a lot bigger than just us jumping out of a plane. It's kind of a lineage, a line, a way back to tell this story right from the beginning of the conception of the Airborne, right through to how it affected people and still affects people today, especially in the Normandy region.
Yeah.
So from citizen soldiers right through to the people of Normandy, and the families of the soldiers, the families of the people that survived and saw this conflict over there. It's a big bridge. It's also an awareness to veterans, modern day and past, as well, and that bridge to all serving troops and to the airborne troops as well, which is our sort of our understanding and our way into thinking about how a soldier works. And speaking to many of the guys that we've been over to Normandy with, and what it means to them to speak to us and for us to speak to them, it's again another bridge of history.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the bridge there. Sorry to interrupt, Alex, because you mentioned the Patton Foundation, Jeff Wells, and all these other people you've got involved in this. Is that I was having lunch with Helen Patton a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this transition we have from the ceremony commemorations here involving lots and lots of veterans to the years where there won't be any veterans, and bringing, as you say, the veterans of other wars. And when Band of Brothers came out, you of course were absolutely second fiddle to the veterans. The veterans were the superstars. They were the ones traveling to Normandy. They were going back to Market Garden and Birch's Garden. And now every single Easy Company veteran is no longer with us. So you have now become, as you always were, ambassadors for those original guys, and I've met many of you guys and Ross and Jimmy many years in Normandy, and this is, it seems to me when I read the website, this opportunity for you guys to kind of pay back a little bit for the privileges you've had because of that show there, and you say it's the best job you've ever had for many of you there, and Sean, bringing back the both of you in there again. Run through again some of these organizations you've already got on board and what more help you could do. People out there watching who are from museums or associations or organizations, what kind of collaboration you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. From a initial, the All Airborne Battalion is the group that's actually running the school. There is actually a school being run in Toccoa that we're actually going to be jumping into the Toccoa drop zone. But we do have a lot of opportunities for sponsorship, a lot of opportunities for different levels of actual support, all the way up to including on the higher end, folks that can kind of do that. We're giving opportunities for folks to actually be in the airplanes as the jumpers are jumping out of the airplane. So you do have that really the experience for that from some of the folks that have done it already have really jumped at it. But we're looking for support across the board. We're working with some other folks on some of the the kit, some of the M42s, the boots, the things like that. Anything that we can get from a support perspective. Obviously financial is the one that we can use the most as far as the production that's going to allow us to make more and more of the film, more and more of the documentary. So it becomes more of an opportunity, and where we have more information to call and make this documentary something that is really, really special. So for us right now, All Airborne Battalion and Walk Among Heroes, and Patton Foundation and the Tennyson Foundation. Anybody that is interested, we do have corporate sponsorships that are available. Certainly we'd love to have you come and participate in what we're doing here. Again, it becomes very, very special for us. And Paul, I hate to drag you a little bit, but I want to point back to Alex, because one of the things you said really triggered me. As all the veterans are gone now, some of the folks, especially the younger generations who really had never met or saw the veterans, they equate the characters. Alex is Frank Mellett, because Frank Mellett never made it out of the war. So in their eyes, he is Frank Mellett. So that's at least extremely important to me, but it's an understanding of potentially some of the impact where people don't really have an understanding, even the people that are very, very close, either geographically to where they grew up or where they're a part of. And Alex, I do want you to tell the story about when you went back to visit Frank's area where he grew up.
Yeah,
it was a very powerful thing to me.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was. I think it'd always been a mission of mine to pay my respects to Frank, to visit his grave, and so I sort of researched, and I could see that he wasn't buried over in Belgium. He had been repatriated back to Long Island National Cemetery. So on my honeymoon, quite in 2015, we sourced his grave. Also found the street that he was born on in Brooklyn, and we decided to make a bit of a pilgrimage. And so the first day we went to Long Island National Cemetery. We found Frank's grave, and very emotional to stand there in front of his grave. He never made it home. He obviously he died 30th of January, and 45, sorry, and he never made it home. So I kind of, in a way, brought him back home in a strange sense of a word. So standing in front of Frank's grave, I looked to the right, and there was the same surname, Mellet, on the gravestone next to his, and it kind of sort of knocked me back a bit. And I was like, "Oh my God, it's his brother John, who died in Papua New Guinea a few months later." And then it started to make sense why he'd been repatriated. He'd been repatriated because two boys had died. One boy, the other son, survived and was removed from the military, and a sister survived. So I was, oh my God, there's two of these poor boys gave their lives. So that was very emotional. I was in floods of tears then. And then, so the next day we decided to go and visit where Frank was born on this street. House was still there. 1919 these houses were built, exactly the same. So this was the house that he was born in, he was raised in. We walked the streets of where he grew up. So I was standing in front of Frank's house, and just standing there with my wife and just having a little look around, and a guy's come out of the house and said, why are you looking at my house? I was not doing anything odd. It's just, I said, there was a character that I portrayed in a series called Band of Brothers. He lived here. He was born here, born in this house in the 20s. And he was like, oh, really? And he goes, I didn't have any idea. And he said, so what was the show again? I said, Band of Brothers. And he goes, oh, yeah, I know Band of Brothers. And he said, what was the character's name? And I said, well, his name was Frank Mellet. And he sort of looked at me funny, went, Mellet? And I went, yeah. He goes, what? So we've lived in this house since like the 70s. And there was a lady here, Mellet, who we bought the house from. But then he goes, but I didn't know. I wasn't even born then. He goes, but there's a playground around the corner called the Mellet Memorial Playground. And I was like, wow, okay. He goes, I had no idea why it's called the Mellet Memorial Playground. And I said, well, there's two brothers that died in the Second World War. And he goes, well, now I know why it's called Mellet Memorial Playground. And so I taught this guy something, a little bit of history about where he lived and why the playground's called that. And so we went to the playground, and it had been set up in, I think, the 50s by the mayor of that little region. And yeah, it's quite a moving couple of days to sort of get around there and actually educate someone to a piece of history that's probably forgotten in that area, so yeah, there we go.
Amazing story. And it's a really good example, Alex, of the fact that famously the cast were given these HBO Bibles about the unit and their character bios if they knew them. But people further and further down the cast, since the series has finished, they've carried on that work. And it's not like the series kind of just put it into a cupboard and forgot about it. You guys, you actors, the family members, the bonds have carried on. They've gone down the generations. Sean, you go to some of the Easy Company reunions that are now really just family members now, because, as I say, the veterans have gone. And that's extraordinary. I think of Richard Spate and his projects in Tonawanda with Skip Mark and the Nyland brothers and people like that. we always say it when we speak to the actors from the show. You guys could never have predicted that 25 years ago we'd be talking about it in the same way that we were when it first aired there. Masters of the Air is now having that same kind of magic feeling. And Sean, I think, bringing you back in there, this is some of the magic you want to capitalize on, isn't it? Because in the commemorations in Normandy, there's lots of different reasons people come here for. Family members come to honor where their loved ones fell. People come as just tourists to see where these things happen. But Band of Brothers, we have to admit, kind of connects everything, doesn't it? It connects via the media. That it's a TV show that is still regarded as one of the finest TV shows of all time. As you say there, Sean, people identify and recognize the actors from their roles. So it's probably the right time, Sean, to kind of bring all this stuff together and see what you can make of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially as you mentioned, specifically Easy Company, all the veterans are gone. And let's be realistic, even the young of the young, the ones that lied about their age to get in at the end of the war, they're pushing 96, 97 years old, 98 years old. And those are the youngins, so to speak. So that, this is really going to be the last opportunity for most to travel over as well. But just making that connection and giving the actors, as they tell those stories, which they will continue to tell, giving them a little bit more of a flavor. Yes, we did the run up, quote unquote, Currahee, but we've also now run the real Currahee. We've gone through, quote unquote, boot camp and training, but we're going through an actual, boot camp right now with a training cadre that has 100 years experience in preparing paratroopers to jump. They're going to be jumping out of a C-47. So the next story they tell the next time they go to Normandy, well, let me tell you about what it's really like. It's not just, hey, I portrayed jumping out of the plane. I know what it feels like for a parachute to rip open after jumping out of a C-47 and catch
You've jumped as well, Sean. You and Diane have jumped as well.
Yes, absolutely. But you will.
Well, I won't. I talk about it. But Alex, I want to bring it back to what we said earlier about the fact 25 years have passed, and this isn't some casual little thing. You're just ticking a box here and turning up for some kind of premiere for 15 minutes. This is a serious undertaking that you guys are going to be doing, and you can let us know which of your buddies have been fool enough to sign up for this if you want to. But this is something that when you come through the other side of it, you'd be the first to say you're never going to compare what you'll be going through with the experiences of what men went through in actual combat. But it's another step on from the boot camp you went through 25 years ago. So you're obviously preparing for this. You're going to be training for this, and mentally you're getting ready for this. What are you and your actor friends what are going through your minds right now?
I hope it doesn't hurt. I hope my chute opens. All these sorts of questions. No, we're taking it, like you said, as a progression from what we did initially, all those years ago for Band of Brothers, and to take it to the next level, to see as closely to what these guys actually went through as possible. But also to really relive for us again what made it so magical in the first place. It was an amazing experience first time round, but it was just a set, and it was just they were props, and they were pretend, and it was special effects. And it's always been something for the few of us that are going to jump, that is something we've always wanted to do, to experience, to take it to that next level, to see what these guys went through to a small percentage, and to come out the other side to tell the tale. So it's we are preparing ourselves mentally and physically as much as I can. I've given all the rest of the guys the brief, so it's up to them how they prepare. But I'm pretty sure that the guys that we're going to be jumping with, and the cast members that are doing it, we are so excited about what we're about to do. We know that Toccoa is kind of a given with jumps, and we know that Normandy, the weather can change 4 or 5 times in a day, as you both know from being over there many times. So hopefully it doesn't get cancelled. But if it does, we'll be back another year to jump again. So and finish it. But There's lots more, that's going to be happening over in Normandy, with a big concert we're going to be putting on at St. Mary-Église, which is going to be huge, with quite a few of the cast are actually going to be playing some music together. So it's going to be quite an event on the 4th of June. Yeah, if you're in town, anyone, then get over to St. Mary.
I'll have to warn my liver in advance that there's going to be drinking involved. I've been to several of your gigs, you and Nick and the other guy George over the years, and remember Rick Gomez and back, hammering out a Creedence Clearwater Revival at late night one time. I'm sure you remember that as well, Sean. So I'll warn my liver in advance that June the 4th is coming up. But Sean, we'll bring things to an end in a minute, but anything, obviously, with the call to action, the website there, the link is in the description, folks. Go there, check out. There are some videos from some of the cast members. There'll be more videos coming. But anything else you feel you want to get across in this short publicity deal we're offering you today, Sean?
Yeah, just the last tie-in as far as the donations, there is an opportunity to sponsor a specific actor's parachute. And when you do that, you'll make a certain connection with that actor, and you'll have more one-to-one kind of connection with that. But as Alex said, the idea of extra things that are going, it's not just about the jump. We're also going to be doing a lot of commemorations, a lot of wreath laying at the different areas, as there are so many there. So the jump is cool, but it's not all about the jump. It's all about getting the veterans recognition and understanding. And the other thing, from the actor's perspective, they've done these things a number of times over and over again, signings and what have you. We're giving them the opportunity to go where their veterans were, what their veterans saw, what they did. So they're not sitting behind a table the whole week kind of signing things. We're giving them the opportunity to, again, learn more. So as they continue to create the stories for the next generations, they're getting more and more experience and more specific experience about their veterans and about what they did and about what Easy Company did. So for us, again, it's the whole package from Toccoa all the way through to Normandy. And then when we get all the production done for the documentary, we're looking to turn it back around to Toccoa, back at a weekend in Toccoa in October, where we'll hopefully give the soft release of the actual documentary. And again, help the town of Toccoa continue to gain in its importance as the generations start to fall off. That we want to make sure that the legacy continues, and we want to continue to live the legacy. Absolutely.
Well, brilliant. Any final words, Alex?
No, well, basically, just head over to our website, curraheetornormandy.com. As you can see, Paul's kindly put up there for us. We've got lots more information on there. We're going to have more actors' videos being populated on the site sort of every couple of days. And we just want to gain as much interest and as much help and support to keep this project going, because, as I said, it is a grassroots. We are doing this and trying to raise money, and it is essentially going to be for charity as well. So and going back to veterans foundations. So that's what this is really all about. And if we can gain as much publicity and as much exposure from it, then these guys and the legacies of these men will continue. And that's really what this message is all about. So thanks so much, Paul, for having myself and Sean on board.
Well, no, the pleasure is mine, and maybe we can do something else nearer the time to remind people about it. You get a few more people signed up for it, and folks, you know what to do. Share, like, subscribe, let people know who you think might be interested in this. Your friends with deep pockets get involved in this. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, really, to get behind something that is, as we said earlier, bringing all these various aspects together: veterans, actors, commemorations, serving military, etc., etc., etc. So there we are, folks. I'll be back in half an hour time with Stephen McLeod to talk about the events of 80 years ago, US Marine Corps landings, 4th Division were landing, and Roy Namur. We'll learn about that. But thank you, Sean. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, everybody, for your comments. I will expect you all to go and visit that website and increase their traffic right now. Thanks, everybody. See you all again next time. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.